All right, I think we are squared away. Now, please keep in mind as we go through this that I don't always see your questions as they pop up. So if you ask a question while I'm going, I may not see it, but at the end I'll circle back, and then if I've missed anything, I'll be happy to make sure that we cover that before this is all through. So my name is Dr. Brady Wyrick, and I am the Director of Regenerative and Integrative Medicine here at Sensor Medica Clinic. I am a chiropractor by training. I've spent my career in the field of chiropractic neurology and functional medicine, which basically means that I've had about for the last 15 years, I've been helping people with chronic issues improve by helping them with diet and then doing specific exercises for their nerves to help repair and restore those nerves. And for the last few years, we've gotten into the field of regenerative medicine, stem cell therapy, and that work. So just to be clear, there's not a lot in regenerative medicine right now that's real helpful for neuropathy. So that's not the direction we're going to go today. But I'm going to share with you some real secrets and some things that you can take home that can actually just give you some hope about neuropathy. I know how frustrating it is to have a doctor tell you that there's nothing that can be done. You have to learn to live with it. And I hope to unravel some of that for you today. So that's the direction that we're headed. I want to help you get rid of neuropathy and enjoy a more comfortable lifestyle without using medications, because these medications, frankly, they're just masks for the actual issue. So I've got 3 goals, and all of those goals are revolve around hope. I want to give you hope that you come away with the knowledge that you don't have to live with neuropathy. I want to give you hope that you can get a good night's sleep and rest and help restore some of the balance that you've lost. And then lastly, number 3 is to give you hope that you can get rid of pain, despite the fact that Medicare doesn't pay for all of it we're talking about today. But we'll talk about some of those details here in a little bit. So a little bit of background about me. This picture was taken in 2009. This was my last day of chemotherapy. I had testicular cancer. I went through 3 months of chemo. And by the time the chemo was done, my feet were burning. They felt like I had wadded up socks. It felt like, actually what it felt like to me was that my sock had twisted, and that little seam that's supposed to go across your toes was actually going across the bottom of my feet. That was driving me nuts. So I went to the doctor and told him about it. It was my oncologist. I said that I was having these issues. He says that sounds like neuropathy and that it's hell to get old. And that was literally the answer that he gave me. And in 2009, I was 31. So at 31 years old, I was told that there's nothing they could do. It was hell to get old. And that was the answer. So that's what started this whole quest when it comes to neuropathy. I want to be able to give people some definitive answers, not just answers, but some solutions, help them get going in the right direction. I throw this picture in here for one reason and one reason only. I think it's funny. After chemotherapy, my hair started to grow back. And when it grew back, it was this frizzy fluff ball curly mess that you see here. So I just throw that in there just because I have a sense of humor and I think it's funny. So let's start off by defining what is neuropathy. A lot of the stuff that you find out there's not really a lot of good answers. And for the Smiths, this is the Smith family, they couldn't find those answers either. They actually came all the way here to Idaho Falls from England to get some answers. And we were happy that they came and spent a few weeks with us. But neuropathy, the basic definition of neuropathy is this: neuro means nerve and pathy means pain. It just means, means problem. So the definition of neuropathy only means nerve problem. It doesn't tell us anything about what nerve is the issue. It doesn't tell us anything about what to do about it, where it's coming from, what the cause is. None of that is explained in the word neuropathy. It just means nerve problem. Now, if we call it peripheral neuropathy, it gets a little bit more specific, because that will tell us that it's a nerve problem in the peripheral nervous system, which basically just means the peripheral nervous system is any nerve that's outside of the brain or the spinal cord. And that's the central nervous system. So anything outside of that is a peripheral nerve. Now, if we put in there diabetic neuropathy, at least we're starting to understand where some of the cause is coming from. But either way, the term neuropathy, I think, is just, if I can be frank, I think it's just kind of a dumb term. So as I said, neuro means nerve, pathy means problem. But really what it comes down to is there are key nerves in neuropathy that have lost their fuel supply and have lost their activation. Therefore, those nerves don't function like they used to. Therefore, you develop a neuropathy. And the only way to reverse that is to actually give the nerves fuel, give them activation, get them going in the right direction. Now, as far as the webinar format, yeah, there's things that we could get into. We could talk about some of the specific issues that are, but I really like to do that in a one-on-one setting so that you understand how it's applicable for you. So we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail about that today. But as I said, what I wanted to do is to have you walk away with this with a little bit of hope that you don't have to live with neuropathy. Clarence came into us. He was just like anybody, or he was just like most neuropathy patients. His was caused by blood sugar. And let me back up. All of neuropathy is caused by blood flow issues, period. Whether it's diabetic neuropathy, it's inflammation and glycosylation of blood sugar that causes blood flow problems. Therefore, it's a blood flow problem. If it's idiopathic neuropathy, the kind of neuropathy that just comes out of nowhere, no one knows where it comes from. Guess what? It's an inflammatory problem. It's an autoimmune problem that creates inflammation, that creates the blood supply problem. And if it's the chemically induced neuropathy like mine was, it's still a blood flow problem, getting those blood flows going to the nerve. So that's very, very important to us when we sit down and look at these from a case-to-case basis. But anyway, back to Clarence. Clarence was a diabetic neuropathy. He came into us, his feet were on fire, he was overweight, and he couldn't sleep at night. Everything else that goes along with neuropathy, that was Clarence. And within a couple of weeks of working with us, he started to see improvement. We were able to help him get off his blood pressure medications and help him get it going in the right direction. So it was helpful for Clarence to get his diet squared away, get activation going back into those nerves. We helped him with those things, and he saw some massive improvements in a short amount of time. And I think overall he lost about 70 pounds working with us. But that's not, I mean, this isn't a weight loss program. Please don't take it that way. But we had to restore that blood supply going to those nerves. We had to give those nerves specific stimulation to get them firing in the right way. This is Cal. Cal's big thing was his balance and his sleep. I know what it feels like when you lay down at night. It feels like your feet are on fire. That keeps you from sleeping for several different reasons. But Cal's big thing was his balance. He wasn't able to, he loves to fish, and it was a big concern for him to get out in the rivers and wade these rivers when his feet didn't know where his brain was. Excuse me, I said that wrong. His brain didn't know where his feet were. So he came to us, expressed the concern. He's on about 8 different medications. We worked with his medical doctor as things started to improve. Between him and his wife, they dropped over 100 pounds. And we got him off all of his medications, helped get his balance back. And to this day, Cal's still doing very, very well. So even with the neuropathy, you know, as long as those nerves are not too far gone, and I'll emphasize that, it is very, very important that we sit down together and see where we're at, where you're at, so we know what direction to take these nerves. But as long as they're not past that point of no return, there actually is hope that we can bring them back, get you some better sleep, and get some of that balance restored. Last one is Chris. Chris came to us. He was more of an idiopathic neuropathy, so they didn't know, the medical team did not know where his neuropathy was coming from by the time he got here. He's a retired state trooper. He's a Marine, and he had to retire from the Idaho State Police because of the pain that he was in. They were giving him the maximum amount of painkillers that he could take, which just absolutely wrecking his life. And we had to sit down together and come up with a specific plan. Okay? And in that plan, we had to make sure that what we were doing, that he could do what we were asking him to do. And then even with Medicare, in his case with Medicare, they wouldn't cover what we wanted to do. So we came up with a plan that worked specifically for him. And just like I says here in this quote from my friend, Dr. Andy Barlow, we're either going to find a way or we're going to make one. And that's the same with neuropathy cases. We sit down together, let's see what the problem is. There are parts of this, like for example, the first visit is usually is covered by Medicare because we have you meet with our medical team. Then we sit down and do an examination with you. We figure out where the issue is, and then we can come up with the appropriate plan so we can get you going in the right direction. So that takes us to what do we do now? We do need to sit down together. Let's get all of the information put together. We need to know what medications you're on, because as we start making the appropriate changes, our medical team is going to have to make those changes for you, because I can't. We need to know what your medical history is. We need to know what you've done so far, so we just don't waste any time, any money going in the wrong direction. We do like to do gait and balance analysis with all of our new patients. This allows us to understand the fall risk that you're at, and then we can mitigate that fall risk while we're getting those nerves to repair themselves. And what's very, very important to me is you understand crystal clear what's expected of you. And I tell people all the time, don't spend a dime on this. Don't put any effort into this if you're not willing to make the dietary changes. We will help you with that, but we got to know what we need to do first. And that's why we need you to go ahead and make an appointment with us. So to do that, either call this number 208-417-7925. Stacy is on the phone right now. She'll answer when you call her. If she can't answer, she'll leave a message, and then our system will actually text you, and you can set up an appointment that way. You can reach out to us through our various social media outlets. But I haven't seen any specific questions that have come through. So we're going to keep this relatively short today. I thank you. And if there's anything else we can do to help you, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer whatever questions we can so we can get you going in the right direction. Thank you, and enjoy your day.